Right now, somewhere in your body, there's a hunger you've probably never given a name to. It's not for food, it's not for sleep. It's the ache for a hand on your shoulder, a hug that lasts a second too long, skin against skin. We treat it like a nice to have, but in 1958, in a lab in Wisconsin, one experiment proved this want is closer to a biological need, as real as hunger, as real as thirst. And what it uncovered still explains why some children never recover from the way they were raised. In the 1950s, the dominant theory of love was brutally simple. Babies love their mothers because mothers feed them. Love was just a side effect of survival. A psychologist named Harry Harlow at the University of Wisconsin decided to test that theory on infant rhesus monkeys. He built two fake mothers, one made of cold wire, but it held a bottle of milk. The other wrapped in soft cloth, but gave no food at all. If the old theory was right, the babies should have clung to the one that fed them. They didn't. Harlow published his findings in 1958 in a paper called The Nature of Love, and the results broke the field wide open. Baby monkeys spent up to 18 hours a day clinging to the cloth mother, the one with no food at all. They'd stretch across the cage just to keep one hand on her, reaching over to drink from the wire mother like they couldn't stand to let go, even to eat. When something frightening was placed in the cage, the babies didn't run to the food source. They ran to the cloth. They used her as a base, a safe place to return to before they dared explore again. Comfort, not calories, was the thing they couldn't survive without. For decades, Harlow's monkeys were treated as a strange, isolated finding. Animal behavior, not necessarily human behavior. Then, in the late 1980s, the world got an unintentional human version of the same experiment. Under Nicolae Ceausescu's regime in Romania, tens of thousands of children were raised in state orphanages, with almost no physical contact, fed, changed, left alone in cribs for nearly all of their waking hours. Researchers led by Charles Nelson began studying these children in the 2000s. The project became known as the Bucharest Early Intervention Project. It was published in the journal Science in 2007, and they found measurable damage, smaller brain volume, IQ scores roughly 15 points lower than children raised in families, abnormal brain activity that showed up clearly on EEG scans. The children moved into foster care before around age 2 recovered significantly. The ones moved later largely didn't. That's the part that turns this from a sad footnote into something much heavier. Touch deprivation didn't just leave these children sad, it left a physical signature in their brains. Around the same period, hospitals began studying something called Kangaroo Care, simply holding premature infants skin to skin instead of leaving them in incubators. Babies who received it regulated their heart rate and cortisol levels better, gained weight faster, left the hospital sooner. The absence of touch could stunt a brain. Its presence could visibly heal one. None of us are growing up in Romanian orphanages, but researcher Tiffany Field, who has spent decades studying this at the Touch Research Institute, has pointed to something uncomfortable. Modern life has quietly engineered touch out of the average day. We shake fewer hands. We work from screens instead of shoulder to shoulder. We can go entire days speaking to people without ever being in the same room as them. We didn't remove touch on purpose. We just built a life that no longer requires it. So the next time you feel that specific, hard to explain ache for someone to just put a hand on your arm or pull you into a hug that lasts a beat too long, that's not you being needy. That's the same wiring Harlow found in a lab 70 years ago, still running in you right now. We're not built to survive on food and shelter alone. We never were.